Okay, so first of all, thank you, Saya Hydrogen, for becoming a member. And that's not what I'm going to talk about in this podcast, but a viewer informed me very. Oh, hi, Ephesia. A viewer informed me uh, a bit before, like a bit before, after I made the announcement for this live stream, that there are quite a few things that actually are named like the Waifupocalypse. I did a quick research and find out, for example, that there's a whole game, a cancelled game, unfortunately, with that name, a whole bunch of mods for a whole bunch of different games, a whole Twitter account that just shares hentai clips, and Waifupocalypse is also the name that's generally given to mass censorship incidents, like for example what's happening right now with collective shout, or what happened before with platforms like Steam, or like the PS4, or even before the collective shout situation, a bit before with the whole um like payment processors, like pulling out of DL site. All these kind of censorship situations were called the waifu apocalypse for reasons that I hope are obvious. If you guys want me to give my thoughts on the censorship situation, we can do so later. I can also cover the whole mods and like the game on another occasion in the future. But yeah, for obvious reasons, I can't cover the hentai Twitter account. I hope you guys understand that. But what I really wanted to talk about with the whole waifu apocalypse is actually a genuine end of the world scenario involving waifus. As you might be aware, machines, AI, and things like that have begun to more and more take the jobs out of people. Now we even have machines that can make other machines, meaning that we kind of already reached the first steps of singularity. And not only that, we have AI doing art, AI doing writing, videos, and, well, even being able to replicate our dear waifus. Like, we are in fact now seeing various AI uh, language language no AI models being made to kind of simulate the experience of actually talking to your waifu of choice with whatever character you want. And that's what this end of the world scenario kind of is based around. Because in the waifu apocalypse, like the scenario is essentially based around the idea that one day AI and like machines in general will get so advanced that we won't need to work anymore. So we won't have any like incentive to develop anything, to study anything. And so unless the machines do it for us, kind of technology itself and culture and studies and things like that will reach a stagnation. Even more concerning, however, we can quickly reach a point where AI is like so prevalent, so cheap, so available, that and gender relations become so deteriorated that we essentially kind of stop like having especially romantical relationships with each other. And obviously, if people don't have any romantical relationships, there are no children. If there are no children, there is no more humanity. And you might say, oh, but what about like artificial insemination? What about like that technology that they are developing of artificial wombs, for example? Yeah, but all those methods still have children. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I'm so sorry. The art I have to illustrate this is from the great Redrop. If he's not already linked on the description, I will link him at the end of the live stream. In fact, why not? Just a sec here for anyone that doesn't want to like go through the trouble of going through the description and everything. Here's the link that you can use. But anyway, uh, the point is that even if we have these technologies, if no one wants to actually have children, then which is quickly becoming the case, then humanity will not progress. There won't be a future for us. Especially because, like I said, it's not even just the romantical relationships that are being kind of replaced by AI more and more. But actually, there are AIs of children. Like there are AIs where you can role play as a father and have your AI child respond. And so even like that instinct of not only, oh, I want a partner, but oh, I want to pass on my genes, I want to have children, like can be fulfilled by technology. And so even if aphasia, like even if the future occurs like aphasia says that, oh no, but these technologies to replace us like in work and things like that are in the very far future. But we may not even like need to reach that far future because if again AI truly replaces on a large scale, it doesn't even need to be everyone, but if the vast majority of humanity, if this technology becomes so widespread and so easily accessible that the vast majority of humanity is kind of hooked up on the machine, is kind of neglecting human relationships in favor of these AI relationships, then there's still no future for humanity. And what fascinates me specifically about, well, I should say, what fascinates me about this end of the world scenarios in specific is that either through natural disaster or aliens or zombies, we always imagine that the end of the world is going to come with a bang, right? That we are all going to die in this great flooding, or that the sun is going to explode, or that there's going to be a catastrophic war, or that the world is going to be invaded, right? And in comparison to that, obviously those are still sad. Obviously, those still have a depressing angle, especially if we consider like the consequences of war, of natural disasters, how people going to live in the post-apocalypse, and things like that. This is even more depressing because in this scenario, humanity doesn't go out with a bang; it goes out with a whimper. Like there is no post-apocalypse because like in this scenario literally there is no more humanity. Humanity reaches a point where so few of us are reproducing that we can't continue the species. And so there truly is no future. It's not just an end of the planet, end of civilization, end of life. It's a literal end of humanity itself. And again, not by like catastrophe, not like by a lack of resources, not by like any sort of a struggle. We are done in exactly by our excess in prosperity, even. And it's just interesting to think that the very opposite of most end of the world scenarios that we imagine can still like result in our doom. That these things, these kind of like conditions that are still so far removed, almost opposite to what we generally imagine for the end of the world, can still result in an even more devastating scenario for humanity. And that's more or less what I wanted to share, because I guess specifically due to how depressing it is, uh, most people don't talk about it, because making a movie or a video about, oh, this incredible, like, what would be the word, like this incredible meteor that's going to uh hit earth in a couple of years, or no, the sun exploding, or nuclear war. This is all super exciting, right? Obviously this would be immensely terrifying to live through, but it's also exciting to genuinely cover, to genuinely imagine, especially again with the idea of the post apocalypse, of living through that. But this is just depressing. Humanity just ends. There is no future. There is no post apocalypse. There is nothing. We just end, and we don't even do so in a cool way. We just all end up as coomers who don't reproduce, and so we die. And that's what's so immensely fascinating to me, why I wanted to cover this, because not only do very few people cover, but the way it occurs, like the way this kind of develops, the way this kind of happens, is so dissonant from, again, how, like I said, how we generally imagine the end of the world to be, that the fact that it too could still again cause not only a end of the world scenario, but such a more depressing and devastating one than what we're generally used to, is just very interesting to me. I don't know if the same is true for you guys, but it's that's genuinely fascinating to me, which is why I wanted to kind of talk about it with all of you. Though, to be honest, I didn't expect the topic to end so soon. So I'm going to give a minute for you guys to kind of elaborate your own opinions about what I just said. And if I don't see anything, I'm going to progress into the other waifu apocalypse I mentioned. Or we can even discuss some other topics I have prepared. Whatever you guys want. Reminds me of the one movie about AI, Robot Boy. Robot Boy. I don't think I've seen that one, sorry. But you know what? This is a good opportunity. Let me research it real quick, and if I can, I am going to talk about it right now. Mm. Okay, internet is not cooperating with me. I'm sorry. What else? What else? Yeah, while I research a bit about the movie A Fisher mentioned, I'm going to talk about the other Waifupocalypse I mentioned. So, what was it? Oh, yeah, the whole mass censorship thing. A lot of people get very frightened over like these various events that are happening right now. Oh, AI, fucking AI robot boy, and here I was fucking researching that. Oh no, okay, okay. No, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that movie is very depressing. Like, um, it's one of the few movies I think I'm not going to mention their name because I don't think they would want me talking about that without their consent. But I'm just going to say that a person I know doesn't generally cry at movies, but they cry like a baby after they saw that one. I'm just a crybaby. I cry at anything, but they are like very like a super manly man, right? And so there's one of the only movies that made them cry. So yeah, definitely very depressing, very on topic with what we were discussing. But with coming back to the mass censorship, a lot of people get very worried about that, and rightfully so. Like, I'm not saying to stop the fight. Obviously, if you are doing something about it, if you are using alternate payment plans, alternate payment methods, if you are protesting against collective shout or like boycotting PS4 games or actively buying on platforms other than Steam, keep doing that. This is great. You should do that. Um, but you shouldn't panic about this either, because we've had a lot of the censorship incidents over the years, over the decades, I should say. Because even before things like collective shout and like the payment processors and Steam and these platforms, etc., older people are probably going to remember when comics were censored, where we had that whole incident where we had the whole council of people who were responsible for censoring comics, like DC comics and Marvel comics, right? We had the whole D&D satanic scare, the whole thing with the violent video games and Pokemon, etc., right? And so, like, obviously you shouldn't like kick up your feet and say, oh, so this is going to like blow over like all those other incidents, right? So why should I do anything? No, you need to do things so they blow over. So this isn't me saying no, you should just give up, but don't panic either. These things happen, and then people react negatively against it, and then they are reversed, and then we enjoy a period of relative freedom, and then that freedom's taken away again by some other asshole, and then we need to fight for it again. It's just a cycle. It occurred before we were born, and it will continue to occur up until humanity actually dies, like we were talking about at the beginning. So it's one of those things where, again, fighting is important, but not to the point of being in a panic and thinking that, oh, they're going to take away all my video games and all my anime is going to be censored. Don't panic. Like, things are not going to become this horrible, like, hell reality, and we will never be able to watch any ecchi without getting arrested anymore. That's not going to happen. So do keep fighting, but there's no need to panic. It's basically my message about that topic. And oh boy, we still aren't even half an hour in. So yeah, remember that topic you talked about and wanted me to cover? If you see, yeah, I think I'm going to need to do that. How many times do we have to teach you? Yeah, that's pretty much. We're going to have to teach them infinite times. Unfortunately, I don't think this is ever going to go away completely. It's sad in a way because this whole thing of, oh, why can't we just have freedom? Why do we need to keep fighting over and over again? Why do we need to go through these cycles? But it's at least good to know that, like, this isn't a thing set in stone, that there is hope, and that things are very likely going to get better in the future. But what else? What else? Oh yeah, yeah. I should talk about that subject that you uh, asked me to cover, the anti-anime bias. Also, sorry for the bad stream connection. I screwed up and uh, like didn't set up things as well as I should have. I'll definitely be more careful in the future, and the internet is just not too good today. But I hope it's not being too much of a bother to you guys. But anyway, what anti-anime bias means, pretty much, is like a Fisher described. You know when you try to recommend something to a person because you know that person and you think they'll really like that because they're generally into that sort of media that you're trying to recommend. Like maybe you're trying to recommend a horror game, for example, or maybe you're trying to recommend a romance movie, or something that you know that they like, but that when you do recommend it to them, they don't want to hear about it because it's anime, right? And even if you describe it to them without mentioning that it's anime, and from the description they love it, the minute they find out that it's anime, they start to hate it. And what I will say about that is that this is a very unfortunate situation because and I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people by saying that I actually want to understand these people because on a very superficial level I do, but the actions that they take because they kind of have these opinions just make them the worst kind of tourists, and so it's just unfortunate. Now, what do I mean when I say that I do understand then? Well, if someone recommends me a story that think I'm going to like because it has themes and it has, like, it's a type of story I generally like, and I hear that it's, for example, a Western movie, right? Then I'm not going to hate it. I'm not going to spit in their face and say, ew, Western movie. Ugh. I'm not going to be rude like that. But I will be a lot more hesitant to watch it. Because Western movies have a lot of cliches, especially right now, that I don't like. For example, that DLC for the first Spider-Man for the PS4 game, like the Spider-Man Miles Morales. I actually was really excited for that, but whenever I started playing it, like the first I think hour of that DLC is really good. We meet Miles's family, and like the action is just as good as the original game, and it's all great, right? It's all going great. But then we find out that the generic bad guy is, of course, a CEO with blonde hair and white skin, and like pretty much every single bad character is white and rich, and every single hero is from some kind of minority population. There is this character that's introduced as a villain, but then it turns out that they were the good guy. No, no, no. There is. Was it? I remember it being a DLC. I'll have to research it later. But anyway, there is a villain that, like, what was it? There's a villain that turns out to be a good guy that is one of the rebels fighting against the evil corporation, etc. And of course, it's a girl boss that has no superpowers but still beats Miles's ass because she's just that cool. And uh, I'm going to get to that, Aphysia. And essentially, there's just all these like tropes that I don't like. Now, are the uncle? Yeah, oh yeah, the uncle. I remember that. And there's all these tropes I don't like, and I'm not going to pretend like my opinion is some arbiter of like reality. If you don't mind these tropes, if you like the game, etc., I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong. What I am here to tell you is that I don't like these tropes, and so they harm what would otherwise be a story I would generally enjoy. And coming back to what you said, Aphysia, that's kind of the logic behind the anti-anime bias. Because let's say you go and watch a anime romance movie. Like, is it guaranteed that there is going to be things like panty shots or tsunderes or like those fumbling male protagonists that blush at everything? No, I've seen plenty of anime romance movies that had none of that. But it's very likely those things are very likely going to be there, and those can like take away from the enjoyment. Like these are things that while they would definitely improve my enjoyment, they can obviously take away from the enjoyment of other people. And so if it stopped there, I would actually understand the anti-anime bias. And I do know that it's annoying. It's annoying when you're just trying to recommend something that you found really cool and the person like doesn't want to see it because of things that may not even be in the movie, right? But to a degree it's understandable, because of how prevalent those cliches that can take away from the experience are in various types of media. But that's all in theory, of course. In practice, I'm going to say fuck people with an anti anime bias because every single one of these fuckers that I've met is just the worst kind of tourist. Like, they will not want to watch something because it's anime. They will cite all of these cliches as the reason they don't want to watch that. They will demand that these cliches be removed for their sake, and then they will not even watch it like when they are removed at all. And what are they watching instead? Like, that's the best part. You're not going to believe this. The things that they are actually watching are the things that do have all those things that they supposedly don't like. Oh, so fucking consistent, right? So yeah, in theory, I do understand and want to support the decision. I want to be kind and understanding to people with an anti-anime bias, but in practice they're just some of the most insufferable tourists I've ever seen. So no, fucking. So yeah, that is my kind of conclusion on that topic. Oh my god, we're still only half an hour in. Fucking. What are some other things I can talk about? Oh, this actually, I was planning to talk about this in a video, but this relates a bit to some of the subjects we were talking about before. So if you don't mind, I'm going to also cover this topic right now. Because I've been watching a lot of, like, what, how would I call it? You know what? I'll just oh no, the canceled game, I can't talk about it because I don't know much about it. If I am to talk about that, it's going to have to be in another video. Like, I genuinely can't talk about it right now because I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it was canceled. So if you guys want me to, I can, but again, not right now. So I'm going to talk about something else that it's kind of related to what I was saying at the beginning of humanity going extinct. Um, I've been watching a lot of. There's no better way to describe them. Sad boy YouTube channels, right? Where all these dudes keep talking about their bad experiences, like at work, with friends, with life, and obviously with women, right? But one thing I've noticed from watching all these channels and from just like the people around me, essentially my friends or like acquaintances or people I uh talk to or just know or watch to YouTube. Is this the first podcast video? Yeah, and it's already scuffed. I'm so sorry. But anyway, is that I kind of reached the conclusion that, wow, who would have thought? Men need women. Because, uh, like, it really seems like man needs the company. Specifically, obviously, because obviously gay men exist, or bisexuals, asexuals. Straight men, specifically, seem to need women because I've seen various types of guys, like from the lowest tier of loser that's living with his mom and that doesn't have a job, i.e., me, to even someone highly successful, someone who has a good career and is actually earning a respectable amount of money, who has his life on the line. I literally know a guy that is like this close to buying his own like apartment, like not even renting. He's going to actually buy his own apartment. He is earning well, he has a stable job that he for the most part really likes. And so dude is pretty much winning at life. Like his relationship with his parents has improved a lot recently. He has a lot more friends too. He's just in a really good situation. But he talks to me constantly about how depressed he is and how he feels like he has achieved nothing at all and how like bad things are going for him. And I'm like, how are things going badly for you? Like, look at all these things you have. You have a good computer, a good situation at home, a stable job, you're earning money, you're about to buy your own apartment. Dude, how is your life going badly? And he tells me simply, dude, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm almost hitting 30 and I've never had a girlfriend. I never had sex. I am not even close to marrying or having children or any of that. And that's a situation that I see very often. It kind of doesn't matter how successful you are as a man. If you don't have female companionship, does he have a hobby or pet? He does. He plays D&D with me every week. He is very passionate about creating his own stories and characters. He, like, again, he's living life. He's doing a bunch of things that he is passionate about, that he loves, but it feels like uh, he is always depressed because he, again, doesn't have a girlfriend. He has a ton of friends too, but again, no girlfriend, and so he feels like a loser. And that's a situation I seen a lot of men in. Like, obviously, when you have nothing, when you're in the me tier, right, you do have a reason to be depressed, girlfriend or not, right? But I've seen, even again, men in similar or even better situations than him that are equally depressed. And the only men I've seen, like my age or close to my age, that are like complete in and of themselves, that do feel valuable, that do seem genuinely happy, are the ones that do have a girlfriend or are married. So I don't know. Maybe it's just that my perception is skewed, but it really does seem like men, especially straight men, need women. They need a romantic relationship. They need a family. They need that most of all, because pretty much everything else doesn't matter to them without that. And I do mention then, excluding myself, because I do feel kind of. I'm going to sound like the biggest asshole in the world saying this, but I do feel kind of alienated every time I enter one of these conversations, because I don't feel this way at all. Like, I don't feel this necessity for uh, I feel really pathetic seeing all those videos of guys throwing a pity party for themselves. Well, maybe it's because there's so much of it. Yeah, I understand that too. Like, I do like those videos for the most part, but sometimes, like, those people go so far that I'm like, stop whining. Like, go, like, to the gym and do something. Like, shut up. Like, there comes a point, like, I understand what you're talking about completely. There comes a point where you just gotta be like, nah, dude, now you're going too far. Like, shut up. But in general, uh, I don't understand these people at a more basic level, because I don't feel this kind of necessity for a relationship, right? Like, I always heard the phrase, "Oh no, I'm going to die a virgin," and I always kind of assumed that this was a joke, that nobody really cared about it, because I never cared about it. Like, the prospect of dying without having sex, I'll be honest, it doesn't mean much to me. Like, I'm much more scared of dying uh, without having been able to, like, help my parents at all. That's what I'm trying to do most of all. I'm trying to, like, really accomplish something of myself, not even for my sake, but more so I can help them. Uh, but very a lot of people seem terrified of the concept. They seem like if they end their lives without having sex, or even if they have sex, if they end their lives without having a girlfriend, with never having married, with never having children, then it's almost like their lives meant nothing. Like, they need to dedicate themselves to a woman in order for their lives to mean something. And that's just something I can't understand. Like, I genuinely can't. And I just feel kind of alienated from those conversations because of that. But again, this is just something I noticed around me. Maybe around you guys, or maybe you also don't relate to this situation for whatever reason. but that's just something I noticed. Let's read some of the comments here. I remember wanting a girlfriend a lot. Then I briefly had one and we broke up in like 6 months, which made me depressed for a while, but then I stopped feeling the desire after that. It's been years. I never. Uh, Years now, and I almost never think about it. Hobbies, passions drive all my desire now. Same. For me, there are other things more important than a relationship, mainly getting an education and money. I'm kind of mixed about it. Yeah, it seems like a lot of you guys. I, I'm going to sound again like the most pathetic motherfucker in the world, but one of the reasons I like this channel is because I feel just so isolated in some of my opinions that it's just nice to find some people that think like me sometimes. Again, I know this is going to be so pathetic, but it's just one of the nice things about having this channel, I think. But yeah, I never been in a relationship like I said, but uh, I had a very similar experience to that, and I think that's what kind of mm, put me on this path, right? Because um, my parents for a while really pushed me to have a relationship. They were kind of like, oh no, you should have a girlfriend, you should be at least trying, like invite girls on dates and stuff like that. And I went through a phase where I kind of did that a lot. Like I would talk to a girl for a few days. I would become their friend for a long time, and then I would ask them out on a date, and they would reject me, and then I would move on to another girl, and then they would accept, but some shit would get in the way, and we uh, wouldn't be able to go on said dates, even though I was super excited about it, and I think the incident that broke me, the same way that uh, it broke some of you guys. Are you from Spain, Brazil? Uh, but the incident that broke me, in the same way that it broke some of you guys, was when a girl like, oh, 1 second. On the one hand, relationships feel like a burden, but on the other, I want to be loved. Mm, yeah, I can understand why you're mixed about it. And that's the situation too for a lot of people. A lot of people want to be are very torn. So you're definitely not alone. A lot of people want to be in a relationship because they want to be loved, but at the same time it's such a bother in so many ways, and it can go so wrong in so many ways that they are kind of like they at the same time want it and are like hesitant about it. So you're definitely not alone. I've seen a lot of people in your situation too. Where was I? Oh yeah, this fucker, this girl. Like, I invited her on a date. She accepted it, but then like a day before the date, she messaged me on Facebook like, that date you were talking about, like, is it romantic? And I said, yes. And she said, oh, it's because I sorry I didn't tell you, but I already have a boyfriend. Like, I'm still down to go on a date with you, like hold hands and kiss and stuff like that. But just know that I'm already in a relationship. So if that bothers you, and I never talk to her again. What the fuck, bitch? Why did you accept if you already had a boyfriend? Do you think I'm some sort of like? Do you think I want to cuck someone? The fuck is the shit, man? So yeah, that's kind of what pushed me away from like relationships. What the fuck? The hell? So yeah, that's I think kind of the event that broke me. But anyway, Armageddon is truth. To be honest, if it is a burden, it isn't love. Love is a thing. It's all about it's all or nothing, but the chance of it being good is like FGO, right? God, that's such a good comparison. I love it. I'm going to start using that. The chance of love being good is like FGO rates. God damn, how devastating is that? But yeah, I think that's kind of all I wanted to say about that. Um, but it was nice also hearing you guys' side of the story, like hearing your own experiences. Yeah, that was fire. Straight fire. Uh, was really nice, honestly. So I really I'm really thankful I've made this like podcast, talking to you guys and like discussing these themes in a way where I can interact. Obviously, I like the discussion videos too, but interacting more directly like this in a podcast format is really fun. I was really worried that this wouldn't live up to people's expectations because a lot of people seem to be anticipating this a lot, but I'm very happy that a lot of you guys seem to be enjoying it because I am enjoying it a lot too. But let's talk about something a bit more, mm, let's just say, uh, lighter instead of like the girl that tried to make me into an NTR protagonist. um, do you guys feel that some games have? I know this is going to be such a thing out of left field in comparison to the other subjects, but do you feel like some games have really unbalanced difficulty levels? Because what I think should happen in a game is that we should have various uh, difficulty levels, right? There should be easy, then normal, then hard, harder, etc. And each level should be that's like saying it's better to murder someone or be murdered. Jesus Christ, you guys are just riding some fire in the comments. It's amazing. The prey or the predator for this NTR situation. I swear to Christ. But anyway, as I was saying, I feel like when it comes to difficulty levels in games, it should be a steady increase. Normal should be a bit harder than easy, and hard should be a bit harder than normal, and very hard should be a bit harder than hard. Obviously, if you compare like easy or normal to very hard, it should be a very like an abyss of difference, right? But there are some games out there that feel like you jump from like one difficulty level to the other and it feels like you've been taken from heaven all the way to hell. I remember I was playing that Deadpool game, right? That one that came out almost a decade ago at this point. God, I'm so old. Anyway, I was playing that Deadpool game and I used to be like quite a hardcore gamer when I was younger. So I decided, hey, I'm playing as a dude that can literally regenerate from any injury. So I'm going to play on the hardest difficulty. Why not? No, you're definitely like um how do I say this? You're definitely just way more determined than I. You can be proud of that. Don't worry, it's not an ego thing. You're just a true hardcore gamer, as they would say. But anyway, I used to be quite the hardcore gamer when I was younger, and so I had this attitude of no, this is the Deadpool game. I'm going to play it on very hard. How bad could it be? And it was one of the like most frustrating experiences of my life. I don't think I could count the number of times I died. It probably was in the like hundreds. Like I turned that game into literal Dark Souls with that level of difficulty. No, even worse than Dark Souls. I didn't like even Dark Souls didn't give me as much trouble as that game did. And you wanna know the worst part? I couldn't complete the last level on very hard. I just couldn't. I tried again and again and again. I must have tried that one last level for like 50 times, right? And then I just said, fuck it. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. You know what? Um, I'm just going to play on hard. Not very hard, hard. And the difference between hard and very hard was like a night and day, dude. Make me. Have you ever played NES or Super Nintendo games? Donkey Kong Country made me go on a Joker. Yeah, I understand, man. I tried. I didn't even play like Donkey Kong Country. I just went straight for like one of the hardest games ever when I did try to play Super Nintendo games. I went for Ninja fucking Gaiden. It was not a good experience. I'll just say that. Before I continue, let's read Armageddon's truth. If you want to get better at games, call yourself a worthless piece of trash every time you lose. It works, trust me. But my self-esteem went down. Oh, I have none, so I will definitely be taking that advice. Don't worry. I felt that way with one game about green cat lolly alchemist. I thought I was prepared until the second swords boss quickly KO'd. Ooh, ooh. Then yeah, I felt that way in Dark Souls actually. Um, the first time I played Dark Souls, I was like feeling like the king of the world because my younger brother actually got the opportunity to play that before me, and he got absolutely destroyed by the very first boss. What did I walk into? A discussion about video games. Anyway, my younger brother got absolutely destroyed by the like a silent demon, while I like defeated him like he was nothing. And so I was feeling like the king of the world. Oh, this hard game is nothing. I'm going to conquer this. Like it's with no problem at all. And then I went to fight the what was his name? The Taurus demon, right? And he absolutely anally destroyed me. Like I died so many times to that boss. I literally had to make another character and go for a fully like armored build. Like I could not do what most Dark Souls players do and just dodge everything. No, I actually had to defeat the Taurus demon with a shield. Just so you understand my desperation and the depths of cheese I had to go to beat that fucker. On certain game, I once lost so badly at the game I genuinely felt like an SA victim. It felt uncomfortable just trying to open the game. Then I never felt quite that bad, but I do understand. On certain games, I like it if the difficulty steps increase sharply because it means there's a long path to get better at the game, like in Toho shooters, where hard mode is like 3 times harder than normal. Yeah, but like Toho is Toho, dude, so I do understand. Or maybe it's just because I'm particularly shit at bullet hell games. Maybe it's that. Anyway, the point is that in the Deadpool game, that it's been minutes since I talked about it at this point. Um, I literally took the difficulty level down from very hard to hard, and it felt like I stopped playing as a dude, right? Because in the very hard difficulty of Deadpool, it doesn't feel like you're playing as Deadpool. It feels like you're playing as a normal ass dude. And then I went to hard, and it felt like I was playing as actual Deadpool. Before, like a couple of shots would kill me, right? And then I went again, not just to normal, not too easy. I went to hard, and like 40 dudes could shotgun my face and I'd feel nothing. Like I felt not just like Deadpool, I felt like Superman. The enemies could literally not hurt me, And with the upgraded weapons I had at that point, I was one-shotting pretty much everything that wasn't a boss. The game had such a sharp difficulty spike that again I went from very hard to hard, and it felt like cheating. Like I was not satisfied beating that last level because how easy it felt. I didn't die. No, I'd be exaggerating if I say I didn't die once, but I went from dying like 50 times to one area of that level to dying like twice the whole level. Like it was embarrassing, genuinely embarrassing, just how much easier that game became after just taking it down a literal notch. And so that's why I feel like these unbalanced difficulty levels are, in general, a bad thing. I can understand for some of you why, on certain games they would feel good, but that's because I just wanted things to be a bit easier. So when I took the Deadpool game down one difficulty level, one, and the game pretty much just became baby mode, that was kind of anticlimactic, you know? And I knew that I couldn't go back to the other difficulty level because I was getting like destroyed. Though maybe now that I think about it, is it maybe it wasn't even like an unbalanced difficulty level. Maybe it was just the Elden Ring effect. If you guys ever played Elden Ring and then try to go back to the original Dark Souls, you know what I'm talking about. Like if you have to deal with Elden Ring bosses for uh enough time, Dark Souls bosses are just going to feel like they're underwater, dude. They just feel like in slow motion. You will dodge them like you like in the easiest way possible. You will no hit some of the hardest Dark Souls bosses if you've ever managed to beat some of the like normal Elden Ring bosses. It's that much of a spike. So maybe it's not even that the difficulty level was particularly unbalanced. It's just that I was raised in the fiery pits of hell, and so the simple pits of hell didn't feel as bad, or something like that. But I've been ignoring comments for a while. I'm going to read them. I'm sorry. I won't. No, no, no. It took me a super long time writing notes, memorizing the stages and bosses and stuff to beat on normal without continues. But I can't even get past the first couple of bosses on hard. Damn. Now that's one dedicated dude. I would have just quit the game. Like writing notes, memorizing the stages and bosses. Like if I can do that in my head, if I had to write notes, like I just give up. So you're definitely a more determined person than I am. Like props to you. When the game is so hard, it becomes a show. Yeah, yeah. Like there are some games that like I just put them on normal. I never went to the shame of putting a game on easy, but there are some games I started playing on hard and then just knocked it back to normal because again, like you said, they just became mature. Like it hard difficulty can be fun, but when it goes to a level where it's so bad that it feels like just going to work or making a like writing a university paper, like why bother, right? I understand not liking it, but personally, I think it's really fun playing on the hardest difficulty since it feels like I must really focus and try instead of just pressing buttons and winning. Oh no, I do understand. Like, like I said, it's kind of a balance. The difficulty can't be too hard that it doesn't feel fun anymore, that it feels like a chore to play. But if it's just like that level of difficulty, when it's very difficult and you have to like pound your head against the wall to win, but not to an absurd degree, that can feel really fun. So I definitely understand both perspectives. What else? else? What else? I think it's because of those Chinese fans that for some reason achieved Sharingan and can hit the game. Oh yeah, those people are just monsters. I don't believe those are human at all. That's some high level AI playing and streaming at the same time. No one can like convince me otherwise. I mean, maybe I'm a masochist, but I feel like hard games are fun. I once downloaded an RPG called Legion Wood 2, and it had no saves, so I died repeatedly, and it made every new encounter heart pounding. Jesus Christ, dude! Props to you. That sounds like a hell to me. If you had fun with that, then you were actual like god gamer. Like I applaud you, dude. That's legendary. Yeah, son, I understand what you mean. Writing notes, I did the same. Every choice feels like it mattered. Yeah, basically, you're saying that you understand what the other person was talking about. Okay. I think the big consequences, like losing saves and stuff, make some games a lot more meaningful or exciting or something. Like playing XCON with no. Oh yeah, I was about to say that I don't understand what you mean, but when you mentioned XCON, yeah, yeah, dude. Like with any game that like has such a huge consequence for losing, and that's when I like it. When the game doesn't just make you lose outright, but when you have a high consequence for losing, and the game forces you to continue, and you have to deal with the consequences. It doesn't just stop you from playing. You have to actually deal with the consequences. That can be super fun, dude. That I understand. Writing notes for a game instead of just quitting is when you know you're playing some 10 out of 10 shit. Well, you are playing Toho, so both like it being very hard and being very good are just things that I do understand. So yeah, though it has been an hour at this point, and I feel like I need to save some of these for like some of these ideas for the videos or for future podcasts. If not, we're going to run out. But yeah, this was extremely fun, and I definitely want to do it again in the future. Again, sorry for the scuff, sorry for the bad internet. I will try to fix that in the future. But despite that, I hope you still enjoyed this live stream. Thank you all for watching, and I do hope to see you all on the next one. Uh, 1 second, I need to address this. Uh, I think you mean Lone RPG, and I have to buy that still. I do plan to cover it. Some people have been wanting me to cover that for a while now, but I still need to buy it. I don't have anything against covering it before anybody says anything, but yeah, I'm going to need some time before I do that. Essay shouldn't be a sensitive topic, like we have games with mass gory death, but essay, especially when it's well written or show too, it's too far, it always confused me. Yeah, yeah. Again, I need to finish this already, but I'll just say, like, this is a discussion that warrants its own podcast, but all in all, I will say that I agree. But yeah, I do kind of need to finish this right now. So, again, thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all next time. Peace.